Welcome back, Mr. Goodberry. The First Star Logistics studio is fully equipped and ready to record.
Welcome back to Bengals on the Brain, presented by First Star Logistics. I'm your host, Joe Goodberry. This is a special live episode because I had some technical difficulties getting the film together. And I thought, you know what? With all the news, with the Joe Burrow situation, people have questions. There's a lot of discussion out there. People are wondering, where do we go from here? And I thought it might be a good time to go live, watch the film with you guys, point out some things that I think will be interesting to keep track of as we go throughout the rest of the season, depending on how long Burrow is out, if it is the entirety of 2025, or if it's best case scenario of the 3 months, which is what's been widely reported. And the Bengals put Joe Burrow on IR today, which, you know, it's not the first time we've seen this. I think that's the hardest part about it all is it kind of hits you a little bit when you invest so much of your time and energy as a fan. And I'm with you guys there. And it's just, you wonder, is the team doing enough? How do we move forward? How do we continue this? How do we stay strong until he gets back? And hopefully he does come back. And if he does, we're looking at best case, again, 3 months, which could be about 12 weeks, 11 games with the bye week in there. And hey, Jake Browning played well last time. So we've got to keep it together a little bit, which means we still have to evaluate the film. We still want to know how these guys are doing out there on this very special edition of Bengals on the Brain, presented by First Star Logistics. Make sure you tune in for the Jake and Joe preview show. We're going to be recording that Wednesday, and you'll see that Friday morning, as you do every Friday morning. And then make sure you check out the Jake and Joe post-game show live after every Bengals game, where First Star gives away a bunch of good things. This week is a Yeti cooler package. And it's funny, I forgot what they were giving away for a second there. And I saw it come across on the side, and I said, I've got a Yeti First Star cup here. I've got 2 of them, actually. They sent me. I keep one at work. They are great. So make sure you get on that. Giving away a package on X, on Twitter, and on the Jake and Joe post-game Bengals show. So make sure you tune in for that. I will get to your questions after we do the film. I think we should watch the film, and I've already got the plays I want to go over, and they are the Joe Burrow plays. Because if we don't see him again, number one, let's remember what we saw at the last time we saw him against Jacksonville. And I don't mean forever. I just mean, for the remainder of the year, which may feel like forever. And we should have a baseline, I think, of what this offense is more than likely going to evolve into under Jake Browning. And there's been a lot of questions about what should the Bengals do at backup quarterback, backup to Browning. Should they go for someone like a Kirk Cousins or more? I don't think we can worry about all that just yet. The Bengals did sign to the practice squad Mike White, who gave us nightmares under Lou Anarumo at least one time. But we talked about the game for a long time when he was with the Jets. They elevated Brett Ripien, who I was a big fan of, but he's never done anything in the league. And of course, we're going to have to, are these practice squad guys ever going to make it? Last time it was AJ McCarron, and he eventually was called up. We did see him for a couple plays, but I want to set what's the baseline? Sean Clifford being the other one. I forgot to the practice squad, but what's the baseline of the Joe Burrow Bengals offense against the Jags? So we've got 3 drives, 1 scoring drive, 1 3 and out to start, and then 1 drive where he gets hurt, obviously, and it ends that way. But I think we have, is it a coping mechanism when Burrow goes down? Whatever it is, the offense wasn't performing that well. The Burrow offense wasn't doing that well. And we kind of forget that it gets to elite status. This is pretty normal for the first 2 weeks, but it does look different when Jake Browning enters the game. And we'll talk about why, and we'll talk about the differences in how Zac Taylor calls plays and schemes things. If 2023 is anything to take from here with Jake Browning taking over for Joe Burrow, then we're expected to see a different offense. And it's going to create the discussion and maybe some of the solution and maybe some of things we can hold on to as we go forward for the rest of the season. So I want to look at this film, talk about it, and we can move on from there. So digest the Burrow film, and Dave Burke's going to get that started for me, and I've got it queued up here as Bengals Jags. I've already watched this quite a few times. I recorded it twice for you guys and it didn't work. So make sure my cursor is set up here for me as we can draw on the screen and have a good time. Okay. So the first play here, and you may notice the camera's a little bit blurry. Paycor was not kind to us on the sideline angle, so I hope they get their guy on that one and focus us up for the future games here. But what I want to show right away is Amarius Mims. First thing I noticed when I put the film on is how far the split was between he and Dalton Risner. He was pretty much out there. And we saw this before with Lael Collins when Collins was the right tackle. But what you're going to see is defenses are going to attack you back inside. So first play here, Bengals want to run the ball. They're in shotgun. And right away, Walker goes inside on Mims. And he does that because he's got a blitz coming behind him, right? So you want to take this tackle inside so that these guys can rush off the edge without any resistance. What it does, though, is it really slams them into Dalton Risner. And if you just pause it here, this not bad running lane, right? Like if Chase Brown can hit this, we're in good shape. There's no other defender there because the linebacker's screaming this way and that way. It should be wide open in the middle. But Mims really isn't helping out here by continuing to push Walker in the back and not slow him down at all for Risner. And if you keep it going, those two blitzers from the right side and Walker just completely blew up this play for a minimal gain. I think he might have gained 1 yard. So you see Mims and Risner start talking right away, like, you got that guy, I was supposed to, and we can't have that. I think we need Mims to play at a higher level right away is something I would like to say about him. The rest of his game was better. So we got motion on snap number 2. It's Mitchell Tinsley running at the snap, and we do have play action. And then we've got a little bit of a moving pocket here, right? We're moving Burrow this way in the pocket as we have play action going that way. And Mitch Tinsley comes all the way across with a speed motion. That means you're going to snap it right up as he's running full speed. And as we get here and we look, man, the Jags pretty much got everything, right? They've got 2 guys in this area. We've got a bracket coverage. This is T. Higgins up here. And this is Jamar down here. He's completely covered. The only thing you probably could do in this scenario would be get the ball to Chase Brown, right? But as we see, Burrow is already dealing with issues as he's trying to get it to Drew Sample. And this should have been our sign that things are going to go sideways today as this play literally does. Watch Mims again with his wide split, and let's watch Walker, the former first overall pick, go against him. And he's going to go inside. So Mims sets out wide. Walker goes in easily, slams into Ted Karras. And what I liked is that the Bengals were pulling Dalton Risner. If you check out Risner at right guard there, he's going to come across and he's going to help out Drew Sample. So they're going to take Josh Hines-Allen over there, and the 2 of them should be able to do their job if Burrow can step up into the pocket here. But he can't because Walker, who just ran through Mims, is now going to disengage from Ted Karras, and he's the one who's going to get the hand on Burrow as Burrow's trying to release it to Drew Sample. Sample's pretty covered there. I'm not sure he would have gotten much, but that play was dangerously close to being bad. So luckily it wasn't. Jags showed a lot of blitz, and this was something we talked about on the preview show, Jake and I. They will show a ton of this on 3rd down. It looks like they're going to send everyone and they're going to make it appear like it's a cover 0 potentially. And which means you remember Joe Burrow in 2021, cover 0. You can't zero me. Means you're sending everyone. There's no deep safety back there. So you can pick your poison. You can throw it at anyone you want with the weapons that Burrow has. So he's going to go up, make sure the protection is correct. He's going to bring Samaje Perine up behind Ted Karras for the 2 linebackers. The sugar in the A gap is what they call that. And no, the Jags are going to fall into a 3 deep defenders here, not a cover 0. So Burrow's got to process, but he doesn't even get the time to process because there's somebody right in his face. So first 3 plays here, we're going to see execution errors amongst the offensive line and protection. And I'll show you what I mean on this 3rd play here. So as Burrow goes to check it, what he's telling the line is, hey, since we've got this guy and this guy here in the A gap, we need to account for them by bringing Samaje Perine up. And typically they'll put Perine here and, hey, you got this guy, Karras, you got this guy, or however they want to do it. Sometimes Perine will be here, you take that guy, Karras, you'll take this guy. And you kind of have to decipher it because those middle linebackers don't always come. And you're going to see that happen right here. So as the play happens, before the play starts, Karras is going to get his guy, that middle linebacker right there, right? And Perine instantly goes to look at this one. And this guy is backing out. So Perine's like, okay, that guy's not coming. And I think Ted must see it as well, because what ends up happening is the Bengals end up sliding these guys all the way that way. And as Pirine steps up to take the guy that's dropping out, I think Ted wants to pass him off. You see his hand there? Like he's almost, hey, Pirine, come up and take this guy. Pirine doesn't see it. So there's miscommunication between Karras and Pirine. As soon as he gets to the top of his drop, he's got somebody on him. And Burrow's just trying to make something happen. It's not there. And we go 1, 2, 3. Bengals are out of there on the opening drive. And they've been really good on opening drives under Burrow and Zac Taylor the last couple years. And so that stinks to see that happen. It puts the Bengals in a hole. They immediately, Jags drove down the field 7-0. And now it could have been 14-0. Dax has that interception in the end zone. And the Bengals get another chance now. And so Burrow's back in the shotgun, top of his drop. We got a timing throw between he and Ja'Marr Chase. This is usually what gets them back on the same page, gets the offense moving again. Burrow's going to throw it extremely early, pinpoint accuracy, and Ja'Marr's just got to keep his feet in, but he bobbles the ball. So 4 plays in a row, we have individual execution errors, right? We want to talk about, and we'll criticize Zac Taylor in the offense because we were putting Burrow in harm's way far too often, in my opinion. But at the same time, this is perfectly picked up. Burrow's got room. He's got time. And that's a dot to Ja'Marr Chase. That gets knocked out of his hands. So Ja'Marr's a great player and maybe even the best player on the team. And he is now with that Burrow's out. But he didn't catch that one. So can't get too critical of him when he makes far more plays than he misses. All right, we got some motion here. We're bringing Drew Sample up to block for Chase Brown on 2nd and 10. I hate 2nd and 10 runs, but this was the best run of Chase Brown's early 2025 season as it goes for 11 yards. Looks like an inside zone that he just bounces out immediately. And watch Amarius Mims here. So I gave Mims some crap on the first drive, right? But he's gonna get a nice win out here to allow Brown to get to that outside. Is he going to push that guy in as the guy wants to go in? He just handles it and seals that edge. Chase Brown's got the speed and the stiff arm to make it a decent gain. We'll take 11-yard gains any time of the week. Okay, so now back to first down here. Burrow still in shotgun. If we're getting critical, we do have some motion pretty much every play here. Out of, I think it was 21 plays. I think we ended up with 12 with motion. Burrow's going to be under center a couple times, not on this play, though. And again, timing, rhythm, passing, right? They want to play cover 3, which means 3 deep defenders here, which your zones look like this. Chase just runs it off, gets on his toes and cuts back. That ball is already out from Joe Burrow. Chase knows turn and let that ball tell you which way to turn after the catch and get maybe a yard or 2, maybe 3 after the catch. And that's just Joe and Ja'Marr being on the same page and just having the rhythm and timing that they do. So the offense is starting to pick it up now, right? 3 plays in a row, despite Ja'Marr dropping that first one or getting it knocked out, however you want to classify it. We've got 3 well-executed, well-protected plays in a row. So whatever happened after that first drive, the Bengals said, okay, we think we see what's going on now. Let's go out there and start executing at a higher level in the second drive. And they do. I believe this is the drive they end up scoring on, obviously. And we got Burrow in the pistol here in front of his running back. We got play action. And we've got a great pocket, right? I mean, if we'll take pistol, play action, and a pocket like this anytime you want. And I originally called this an off-script play because Burrow's going to end up rolling and throwing on the run. A beautiful throw on the run, probably his best throw, maybe his best throw of the season. We do end up getting a flag here on someone grabs Ja'Marr. But as the routes are coming this way, I think Burrow just says, you know what? Let me buy some time. Let me make this throw a little bit easier. I'll let it play now. And that's a dot to Noah Fant, right? I mean, Fant only played 17 snaps. I wonder if he thought his usage might be a little bit higher than that. Drew Sample still leading the team in tight end snaps. He's still tight end number 1. But this is, did you see Drew Sample, by the way? Watch him here, helping out Mims. Yeah. And this is a beautiful throw. That's a nice ball, nice spiral to Noah Fant on the run. And I would say at this point, the offense is feeling themselves and everything's feeling better and looking better. And then as Burrow's looking at this right here, here's our next sign that things are going to go awry. As he puts Yoshi in motion into the slot, I think it's just more of an adjustment, not motion. But he puts him out there because I think he sees that this guy's not really going with him here. He's dropping back into coverage. And so Burrow's like, okay, they're rotating from a single high safety to a cover 2 situation. I've got potential for a blitz here. And he's correct. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys coming from this side. I think Burrow, what he wants here is, instead of a slant route from Yoshi, I think he either wants him to turn and sit or just quickly get a spot pass here, as I want to say that's Higgins going down the sideline. You'll see what I'm saying as I press start here. Right? The slant doesn't really make sense. I think he moved Yoshi out to give him the space between these two defenders. And you'll see Burrow's like ready to throw this ball and has to hold on to it because somebody doesn't go in the right direction. And I hated this slide as he tries to go get that ball. I still worry about that wrist once in a while. But watch Burrow from here. You'll see the windows. What I'm saying is he moves Yoshi out to the left. He was pretty pissed after this play, if you remember. He was mad about it. And you see right there, as he wants to, I think he wants to put it in this window. Now, I could be completely wrong. Maybe he didn't expect Josh Hines-Allen to drop into coverage, and that's what he saw and just tries to hold on to that ball and cannot. Otherwise, I think Burrow would just hit this next window and just keep it moving. So it could be that he just didn't expect 41 to be in the way there. So weird play. We had 2 weird plays to start this game with Burrow kind of losing that ball in awkward ways. Next play. Again, timing. We got a cover 2 situation here. Tampa 2. It looks like the middle linebacker's going on the middle. So cover 2 situation. In cover 2, your windows are, can we beat this guy down the middle of the field? Can we get these hole shots? And also, do we have these little hooks and curls and checkdowns here? And we do. We've got T. Higgins hooking up right there. And the timing is great. Burrow hits that back foot. Ball comes out. And T makes a nice contested catch, which he made a couple of them with guys directly on his back today. We'll see another one later. I think that was on the 3rd drive. But again, protection starting to hold up. Even though Reisner, I think, getting pushed back a little bit. When we watch the film, this will happen with him. I don't like that Mims is getting beaten across the face as quickly as he does, especially if it could be just timing between the two. If this is a stunt, which it doesn't look like the way Armstead rushes, if it's a stunt, these guys need to shore up their communication a little bit more. And I didn't think it was good during the summer. I posted a lot of clips of Mims and Lucas Patrick just being on different depths when it came to stunts and twists on their side. I didn't think they communicated very well with that. So it's going to be something to watch with Mims. And if it's Dalton Reisner, for how long, we'll have to see. All right. So Jags showing cover 0 again, right? Everyone up here, and they set a line right here. Let's see if they actually send it. Sometimes it takes you a minute. Are they actually going to send it? No, they're drifting into a deep cover 2, and Burrow sees it right away. And he goes, I don't know if I've got answers here. We could probably hit down right here. This is covered. That's covered. And Burrow's like, sees this little flash. Hey, Mims, Mims looks like he's killing this guy. We're going to have to see that other angle. But Burrow steps up, avoids the rush, hits Jamar Chase. I think Jamar knows once they saw that cover 2, he's got to get back to the middle of the field. That's he and Burrow just being on the same page as they are usually. Let's watch Mims over here. Let's see what he does against Trevon Walker. Oh, yeah. We like that. There's some hand usage out of Mims. Walker tried to give him that outside or that inside hand. Mims just swats it down. Walker slips and falls because I think he was really expecting to lean in on Mims. So we've had this is the low and the upside of Amarius, and we need these upside plays to just happen a little bit more often. We need him to take that next step. Jamar Chase in motion here. And when you go in motion, why do we like motion early in the season? I think number 1, it stresses defenses and stresses their communication depending on when you snap it. Number 2, statistically, teams that use a lot of motion early in the season score more points. So after week 1, I'm like, Bengals are stagnant. Where's the motion? Now here are week 2, and they're running motion at a higher rate. But when you see Jamar and T, you have 2 of them over here, and you only got 1 corner, and then the safety over there, something is not right. And I think Joe recognizes it right away. Something's not right. They don't want to cover Jamar. Fine, don't cover Jamar. And again, Josh Allen drops into coverage as the blitz comes from the right side. Burrow hits that back foot. hits Jamar. You don't see easy pickings like that too often between 9 and 1. And so the offense is feeling it. I think that at this point, they have the answers for what the Jags are doing. I think they feel pretty good about it. Sure, Burrow had to go off script one time when they dropped into a cover 2 after showing blitz. That's nothing he doesn't deal with. The protection's pretty good. I'd like to point out, it looks like Dylan Fairchild here as he's looking to the left. Do I need to help out because Allen drops back? 41 drops back. Orlando Brown takes the defensive tackle. And when he does, Fairchild goes inside. Let me help out Ted Karras. And maybe might have almost taken out his own fellow lineman, but I do like that. I do like when they look for work and they find some in a physical way. Hey, we're under center. A rarity for Joe Burrow. And we got motion with Drew Sample. I like this, number one. We can spend a second on this play here. A lot of times recently, it's become very common for tight ends to come across and block the defensive end right there, right? They're coming against the grain. They're blocking the D end. And maybe that's what the Jags could have thought was happening here. I've seen teams now, and I think the Jags did this, bring a guy in motion and then bring him back this way, bring him back this way. It creates a lot of confusion, or just keep them going at motion and you got them in the flats. Either way, it really makes the defense look at a guy who's never getting the ball, right? How often does Sample get the ball? But it really makes him a focal point of, okay, what is he doing? And we can't just play 11 versus 10 with Sample not counting because he doesn't help out much. So it's a nice little wrinkle to the offense. And at the same time, it doesn't really amount to much. Chase Brown gets about 2 yards on the ground. The Bengals are going to need to be much better run blocking. They're going to have this run game look much better than it does right here. And I'm going to show you why. Between Amarius Mims, Mike Gesicki, and Mitchell Tinsley, they're confused. And I'm going to play it first, and then we'll bring it back. Watch those three on that side. Okay, so nobody really gets blocked on it. If I go back, watch Mitchell Tinsley first. Yeah, because he's got to, you go and look, he's got to get to this guy. He's got to get to 2. How does he get to 2 when Mims and Gesicki are trying to block the guy in front of him? So now he's got to get around him. He's never going to get to 2. And not only is he not going to get to 2, 22's coming in clean. So 3 guys for 3 defenders, and we end up with 2 guys blocking 1 and Tinsley unable to get to his. So there's some miscommunication there. You can watch Mims look right away at Gesicki, and they start talking about it like, are you supposed to get him? I thought you were climbing the second level. And other teams run this play all the time. I think Gesicki's supposed to go get the second level guy. So there's some miscommunication there. You can't have, and that is an execution error from a coaching standpoint. They don't know the play. They don't know what they're supposed to do. It's one thing if you fall, if you get beaten physically, if you can't cover a guy because he's fast. It's another thing if the 3 of you are struggling to execute your assignment. And it's not so much on Tinsley there. He's trying to do his job, but he just can't because guys are in his way. We got a very similar play here to the Chase Brown. If you remember week 1 against the Browns, Carson Schwechner comes screaming over. Chase Brown comes underneath to get the, it's kind of like a screen pass, but it's like a tunnel screen. And this time it's going to be for Gesicki. And if you get man coverage, this is great because as Jamar Chase goes this way, you can cause a little bit of traffic there. And he does. The problem is the linebacker's over. There's no one really to keep this linebacker from coming over and getting on Gesicki. Like, we need something on the backside of this play here. Play action, maybe something to keep him over there. Maybe Yoshi runs in front of him. I'm not a coach. I don't know how to draw plays, but I'm saying something here should be keeping this middle linebacker 2 weeks in a row from screaming over and getting to your guy, not allowing you to make this throw. So now Burrow's running for his life and almost makes a really nice throw there. Or look at the protection, and I believe it's Chase Brown this time that gives up the pressure up the middle. The concept did not work. So this is less of an execution. This is more of a play calling, Zac Taylor, Dan Pitcher concept. Hey, this needs to happen. But watch Chase Brown here as he got to pick up 0, and 0 just discards him pretty easily. I thought Brown was good in all of his other pass protection reps. But having that one happen right there kind of stinks because, we're trying to get in the end zone here. We're trying to put points on the board. All right, next play here. Again, Jags look like they're blitzing, right? We look like they're sending everyone, and every other time they have not. Well, this time Burrow's going to say, okay, I think they're actually coming. Back foot hits, and we got Ja'Marr on a slant here. And if you're going to put Ja'Marr one-on-one with a corner and no inside help, I think the Bengals and Burrow will take that every single time. And that's a touchdown, 7-7 on the board. When we get the end zone angle here, you may see, someone running free and hitting Burrow. And you may say, oh, the O-line, we can't have that. I'm going to stop you for a second, okay? Because we've got 5 offensive linemen and we have Samaje Perine. We have 6 blockers. The Jags are sending 1, 2, 3. There's a guy behind there. 4, 5, 6, 7. So if I have 6 blockers and they're bringing 7 defenders, what does that mean? Somebody's coming free. And again, this isn't a offensive design issue. This happens because someone's got to account for the quarterback. The if you think of it that way, there's 10 guys on offense and 11 on defense. So there will be times where you have you're undermanned by 1. And what that means for the quarterback is the free guy is mine. I have to know that the free guy is coming and that ball has to come out. And if it doesn't, that's why Anthony Richardson's not starting for the Colts anymore and why he keeps getting blown up every time they send a full blitz at you, a cover 0 blitz. It's because he almost never sees that guy coming. The free guy is yours as Joe Burrow, and Burrow knows it's coming and gets that ball out. Again, pinpoint accuracy with a guy in his face, touchdown. Now we're going to get to the final drive. This is where things kind of fall apart a little bit. And it's a lot of different issues and a lot of different reasons. And we're in shotgun again. We got motion this time. Looks like Yoshi looks like he put on weight. Looks like Noah Fant sometimes. This is going to be a penalty, but I don't know why Burrow didn't throw this right away. We've got Gesicki and T running out. They're in a cover 2. In my opinion, I don't know why he just didn't say, hey, I'll take T right there. And this is going to be a flag. So he must have saw the contact and didn't like it. He tried to come back to Ja'Marr Chase. Ja'Marr's got 2 guys on him. And I think he said, all right, if this is man and this guy's running with Yoshi, then I should be able to have Chase Brown right away here for the check down. And the ball comes out weird again. So I thought he got hit when I watched this on TV on Sunday. Let's watch the protection up front. I mean, that protection's good. He's able to get through multiple reads on this side, back to Ja'Marr Chase, and then to Chase Brown without anybody really in his lap. And he actually does not get hit. There is space there. That ball just comes out weird for whatever reason. Not throwing with the same confidence that November Joe Burrow plays with. Mitchell Tinsley in motion. Everyone's tight here. And we're going to talk about this with Browning. But doesn't this scream run to you? If you're sitting here and you're a Bengals fan and you watch Bengals every Sunday, if you watch the show, if you watch Bengals on the Brain presented by First Star Logistics, you kind of can tell what they're doing, right? So it looks like a run. They've got everyone in here. The running back's just offset a little bit on the running back. But look at the Jags. They don't care. They do not care if you're going to run the ball. They're going to stay with their 2 deep safeties, and they're not going to let you throw that ball over their head. They do not care. And yet, Chase Brown can only muster 2.5 yards. Let's look at the run blocking. Number 1 is Orlando Brown Jr. If we can start with him versus, is it Hines Allen this time or is it Walker? It's Walker, 44. Orlando's the slowest guy off the snap here. Maybe he wasn't ready. Maybe he had a moment. Because I thought he was fine in this game, to be honest. He had a couple of plays that I didn't like, this being one of them. Walker gets underneath him, blows Orlando Brown back, and now he's not at the point. Wait, now he's 3 yards back. Walker easily gets inside and makes the tackle. What we're trying to do is have a dual block each on the inside here, guard, center, and guard and tackle on this side, right? And it can work. We need Karras to come off a little bit quicker and get to their linebacker, but Reisner's getting there and getting a 51. These should get more yardage, but we're not getting the push that we should, and especially on the edges, as Fant is kind of getting walked backwards, and Orlando Brown Jr. is, and we can't have that from number 75 there at left tackle. Okay, so that was first down because the first play was T. Higgins. This is second down. They're showing blitz again here, right? Let's see. Are they going to actually blitz it? Do you remember? I'm asking you guys in the chat. Are they going to actually blitz? Is it a cover 0 situation. What do you think? Nope. Cover 2 again, because it always is cover 2. It's not always, but it feels like it against the Bengals. And as Burrow sets and sees and confirms that, he's going to say, all right, what did I say earlier were the hole shots against cover 2? If we got a safety here, we got a safety here, hole shots being right here, because we do have coverage underneath typically right there. Yellow is going to be the defensive coverage, right? Does that make sense? We got this guy going in the middle. So we've got hole shots here, 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 and you can hit these little hooks, right? You can check it down if you need to. But what we have is Yoshi running a flag or a corner route right there. And he's going to say, give me that, especially because this is Travis Hunter playing safety back here. They're rotating. It's an inverted cover 2 where they're pulling their corners to be the deep guys. So Burrow's going to see that and try and make this throw, but he's going to do it on the run. Maybe unnecessarily because the pocket was really good. Ball's going to float just a little bit. It's going to be high. Travis Hunter does a good job carrying Yoshi out of bounds. And I want to say, to be honest with you, I think Jamar's right. I think Jamar's like, hey, if this safety or this corner in this scenario is going to be flat-footed like this, and I'm running free one-on-one, I don't care who it is back there. I don't care if it's Ed Reed. Throw that ball every single time you can. And I know it's easy to say after the ball comes out, but Joe does look that way for a split second, as right there before he comes back to Yoshi in the right side of the field. He's confirming right now it's cover 2. I think you go for it. You tell me the number 3 was going to turn his hips and run with Jamar Chase as you step up. That's a great pocket. This pocket's in great shape. Step up, launch that thing. But I mean, I try not to be too critical of it. But when I see Jamar put his hand up, I think, do it. I think Burrow could chuck it to Jamar early in the season a little bit more often. And I feel like he gets there, like just take it. And, just if it's going to 5-yard screen, I'll just take it to Jamar real quick on a spot pass. But early in the season, there's quite a few times where I'm like, yeah, you could probably get that there. Instead, you turn that into a very difficult shot. That is a hard throw to make, and you're doing it on the run. It's not ideal. All right, so we have the next play here. Jamar's in motion, coming back. It looks like we got man because of it. They're sending a blitz, and with the blitz coming, we have a guy right in Burrow's face. We just have a stop route for T, who boxes out that corner, makes a nice catch away from his body, keeping it away, keeping number 3 from getting his hands on there and knocking it out. Protection was just good enough. We are going to have someone on Burrow's lap here, and you're going to see why, as Josh Hines-Allen, is going to loop all the way back around. It's a tough ask for anyone to keep up. Karras is just going to try to do just enough to make sure he doesn't hit Burrow, which he does there, just enough. But, man, too many loops and stunts hurting this Bengals offensive line lately. The communication should be better than that. The flow should be better. I blamed it on Volson a little bit. Now, what do I blame it on? Fairchild being a rookie? I don't think it's any of those things. I think we need to see it better. We need better depth. We need to pass these guys off a little bit better. We need to stun them a little bit. All right, we got some play action. I'm going to go back here. Showing cover 2, right? Again. And what does it look like? It looks like they're going to run it. Everyone's here. And the Jags do not care. They don't care. So we got play action. Fake it to the running back and then throw it to the running back. I hate this play. I hate when they do that. It works for other teams, not the Bengals for some reason. We're the worst screen team in the league when it comes to, Browning seems to get it off. But how do you work on screens as a quarterback other than just timing and really selling it, right? And then we did get a good block from Sampler earlier on a low chip. Otherwise, we can't body positioning like that. We can't be outstretched and getting holding calls on first down, leading to 1st and 20, 2nd and 20, 3rd and 20. That just can't happen. So we're back in shotgun in a 2-by-2 formation until we bring Jamar Chase across, which they follow with a corner, which makes me think we've got man coverage. And as Burrow hits the top of his drop, we got a cover 2 situation, cover 2 man, it looks like. Orlando Brown's giving up that edge. Burrow's got to step up. He can't because Walker is coming from the other side. So Orlando Brown Jr., I think, gives up a pressure here on the outside. But I want to focus on Mims and Reisner on this side here on our left side. And again, passing these guys off and having the communication. And you got to stun these guys sometimes and slow them down. Same for you, Reisner. And I don't think either guy does a good enough job of slowing down the rushers. And what happens is Walker comes free. We cannot let first overall pick talent type and Walker coming free to the point that it spooks Burrow into just trying to get the ball out as fast as he can. Like, yikes, come on. We've got to be able to stun those guys a little bit more. Should not be happening. And I believe this now is the final play for Burrow, if I remember correctly. It is. And Tony Pike broke this down really well. And I was very happy with the way he did because it looks like the Bengals are going to get man coverage. And if they are, we got double slants here. Well, I want Jamar here. And Jamar gets jammed pretty good. I thought number 3 had a couple good jams in this game. And you don't want to see your very expensive receivers getting jammed like this. But Burrow sees that and the ball's up. He's ready to throw it. You throw that, that's probably going to be picked. So he goes, oh, crap, can't do it. Let me get out of there. Up. And because the defensive line is stunting, again, we've got chaos. These guys are unable to hold up for Burrow to get through multiple reads there. Right? If we want to throw this, fine. And the ball's out and everything's going to be okay. But because we've got stunts, movement all over the place, it's just not happening. These guys aren't, they're not able to pick it up. The offensive line's not good enough there. The Jamar Chase wasn't good enough there, and you need him to be. And that's the last play. That's 21. That gives us our baseline of what we're looking at. And yeah, that's Joe Burrow. And those were hopefully not his last reps in 2025, because we'd love to see him again. We've got questions here. I'm going to get to them. I see the chat's going pretty good. And we've got some on X. We've got Dan the Man down here. We got Dave Burke's going to pull them up. And I'm going to read them out, and we'll go over a few here as we got at least another 10, 15 minutes to keep it going. Courtesy of First Star Logistics. So from Dan the Man, Joe, who do you want to see at wide receiver along with Chase, T, and Gesicki? Do you think Tinsley can overtake Yoshi? I do. I don't think Yoshi has started off this season very hot. I think he looks slower. They said he added the weight. Don't know that it was good weight. The thing he really offered before was that he could be a speed slot. He can be a power slot. They're not run blocking well enough at all. And he's part of that. He's got, if you want to go 3 wide receivers, want to go 11 personnel, he's got to be able to block. And you see the Bengals bringing Mitch Tinsley in on some of these formations to be the blocker. I wonder if Tinsley is better at that, or if it's just a way for them to mix it up and give Tinsley some reps. I'm with you. I would love to see Jermaine Burton when it happens, when he's able to. I don't believe that Yoshi should have a stranglehold on wide receiver 3. I think it should be more of a rotation. Let's see Tinsley do it more. I mean, the guys have 1 target in his career, and it was a heck of a catch. One of the best catches to start a career ever. And Dave, if you want to keep these questions rolling, I'm ready when you are. From Josh Holland. I have a daughter named Holland. I'd like to know a breakdown of how often the Bengals go deep versus short game. To start this year, it hasn't been very often going deep. And now I could look at Browning, who was chucking that ball downfield, and maybe sometimes not wisely, because he was picked off 3 times, 2 of them being on deeper throws. But Burrow was not. And if you watch that film segment there, you see how often teams are going into cover 2 shells. That is an effort to put a cap on the Bengals offense and keep you from throwing deep and throwing over their head. The way to counter that is to run the ball and get them to finally bring that safety back down. Or you pick them apart on 12-play drives underneath, which is when the Bengals have scored this year. Burrow was doing that. And then you eventually defensive coaches go, all right, we can't keep doing this. I've got to send something. I've got to do something. And they get out of that cover 2 shell, which we haven't gotten that far yet in the season to really enjoy some deep balls. But typically, Burrow has been one of the most accurate deep ball throwers. They get a lot of yards out of it. Their percentage is usually middle of the league the last few years. We just count like 2021, they were bombs away. 2022, defenses put a too high shell cap on them. And then 23, it was hurt. really it's just last year, and they were a pretty good deep team when they needed to be. When it was presented, Burrow was very good at it. So it's hard to give you a true percentage because we're so early in the year, and that stuff tends to happen as we go. Next one's from Bro Ken. Is there any truth to that it's harder to block when Burrow is in versus Jake? Like Joe asks too much of his linemen. I don't know that there is a easy answer for that because I don't think the line was that much better, or if at all, under Browning. And maybe we need a whole nother show based on that tape. They were bad with Browning, but Browning got rid of the ball about a half a second quicker than Joe did on Sunday. So that's a huge difference. Joe's typically in about the 2.5 range, 2.5 seconds from the snap to releasing it. When he's in the 2.8, 2.9, 3 range, which he was in the 2.9 range on Sunday, it makes the offensive line, you got to do your job much longer. But Browning was in the 2.37, I believe it was. I tweeted this out the other day on Monday. And when you do that, the line doesn't have to do much, right? You just stun that guy, that ball's coming out. And a lot of that was because they were running screens and quick throws to Jamar. They hit him on a couple screens. They get the ball out of Browning's hands. I think when Browning sees potential for a rush, he's just going to throw it up. That's why he had 3 interceptions. I don't think Joe is going to put the ball into harm's way. And maybe he should more often. Instead of taking a hit, maybe you try to let T. Higgins go dunk on somebody downfield. Maybe you just throw it deep and let Jamar. I showed the one play. Maybe just let Jamar go and track it down if he can. I do think there is something to be said that Joe can make it harder because he's such a perfectionist. And I think he really looks at completion percentage. He doesn't want to throw interceptions, right? He knows how valuable turnovers are. But when you do that, I think he at times holds on to that ball a little bit too much. But again, I want to reiterate, since he's come into the league, Burrow is one of the fastest throwers of the ball in the entire league. I think he was 3rd last year for quickest release from snap to throw. So I don't we can't say that he holds out the ball too long. He does when it's required. And you create plays in this league, a lot of them, by going off script, by making magic happen, by running around. Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Pat Mahomes, like even Jalen Hurts, the list goes on. You have to be able to function and do that. If you can't, you have much less value in today's league. So I don't want to take that from Burrow. Burrow, that's one of the reasons why he's so good. Natty Ron, Joe, do you think the tight end will get more attention now with Jake Browning throwing? I do think we will see more tight ends. I do think we'll see more 12 personnel. Goes with that question earlier about who should be wide receiver 3. I think we'll just see more tight ends. I don't think we'll see wide receiver 3 as much because if you look back at 2023, and the Bengals did change between Burrow and Browning, and it saved Zac Taylor's job, I think, at that point. People were frustrated that Burrow's, getting hits, that he was playing in camp. You didn't have control over camp. Burrow's playing, hurts his calf, and then he gets hit again, and he got hurt twice with the calf. He re-injured that calf. And then he got hurt with his wrist and needed surgery on him, something unprecedented that quarterbacks never have. People were pretty upset. And then Browning comes in, and was the first game the Steelers game, and they basically dropped Browning into a Burrow offense, and they were terrible. It looked horrendous, and people were mad. And then the rest of the season, the offense was much different with Browning, and they put him under center more. The screen percentage went up. The play action percentage went up. The running the ball percentage went up. They become better at running the ball. They become more efficient there. They became more efficient in a lot of ways. And Browning still completed 70% of his passes with like a 98.9 quarterback rating. And they went 4-3 under Jake Browning. I do think they're going to do that again. They'd be crazy to just drop Browning into Burrow's offense. It'll look like what it looked like on Sunday. Some huck it, chuck it football, throw it down the field, and let's let T maul and run through 2 guys for a score, which is great. That's fun to watch. But you can't have that many turnovers. So they're going to control the game a little bit more. I think Chase Brown's going to be used a little bit more. They're going to get under center a little bit more play action, more screens, more motion. These are all things to make it easier for your quarterback. All things that I remember after 2023, we may have had a whole episode about it, or at least a discussion, that Burrow sees this now and sees Browning in this type of offense. You would think they're going to marry the Burrow offense and the Browning offense, and they're going to be unleashed. And hey, 2024 there was shades of it, but not to the point. And that offense was really good last year. So, maybe they know what they're doing. But, Burrows did survive, but he's taken too many hits that you think that's my overall point of all this, my breaking point on this and where the future lies, that they've got to reduce the hits on Joe. The only way to really do that, because his style, he's always been hit at a high rate, even from LSU. It's something we talked about if you guys were following me back in 2019 when I was doing draft work and doing daily podcasts and stuff. And I said, we listed all these strengths that Burrow has and, some of the weaknesses. And we said, also, he plays a bit reckless, and in the pocket, he will take hits. He will trade hits for time and to make a big play happen. So you need to save him from himself, which means more plays and more scheme that protects him, which is running the ball. And you got to be a good running team. You can't run the ball for 1.5 per carry and expect just to keep running the ball. You're going to be punting a lot. So, I get why they start dropping back Burrow when it's 2nd and 8. I get it. You got to throw the ball. But at the same time, be a better run team to start, then build play action off of it, then add the motion in there and everything you need to be. And then maybe the game is closer. They've been playing close games, so I don't even know if this is a good argument. They've been in nail biters forever with Burrow there. But what I mean is, if you can keep Burrow fresh until you need him to drop back and throw and drive down the field and pick apart a defense and score, then you unleash Joe Burrow and that Joe Burrow LSU offense. Late in the season, you need it. You need this game. You unleash that Joe Burrow. In the playoffs, why do the Shanahan tree offenses and quarterbacks struggle in the playoffs? The Tua offense that looks great, the Miami offense that looks great in the first 3 weeks with all the motion and tricks and gadgets, and then they just peter off completely because you need to drop back and throw the ball as the season grows. As the playoffs hit, your quarterback will be able to drop back, read defenses, and throw and make accurate throws. If you can't do it, that's why Lamar has struggled, right? You got to just drop back and throw. Why hasn't Josh Allen gotten there? You got to be able to do this at a high level. Get Burrow to that point, though. Get him to the playoffs. And you're struggling to do that with 3 out of 6 years he's ending up on IR. So, yeah, that's where that's my overarching hoping to get there. From Jordan Carrington, next question. Can the Bengals be 7-7 going into week 16? Sure, they could. I just did this for subscribers on X. I put Browning in. I did the episode with Burrow's passer rating and home and away versus the opponent. And usually that leads to pretty accurate results for me. But I put Browning in, took Burrow out, put Browning in. I had them at one point getting to 7-7. So can that happen? Yes, it can happen. And then you have to decide if Burrow's healthy, can he come back? And say we hit best case scenarios and Burrow's healthy and he's ready to go. And he's done all the things needed to be healthy and ready for mid-December. And you're 7-7. I think it's worth the risk. Now, are you in 10th place in the AFC and you got to win out in order to make the playoffs? Then I don't know if it's worth the risk. But if you're sitting there and you're still 7th seed and you're feeling good and the remainder of that schedule looks pretty easy at the end or at least manageable, put Burrow in and let's go. Let's make a run for this thing and let's see what we can do to salvage 2025. Next one's from Michael. Who do you think is the most likely to step up in the pass rush department, with Stewart most likely being out a few games? Is there any hope left for Murphy and Osai? So, yes, Shamar was starting to get more and more reps. He was getting more rundown reps. He was getting some defensive tackle reps in their nickel packages. To me, it just means that Murphy and Osai are going to take most. I don't think it's going to be Cam Sample. Maybe he'll get the rundown stuff. I don't think they're bringing up Isaiah Foskey, who was someone else asked that question. I think they still want to develop Shamar and get him to that point when he's healthy again. But to me, Osai still is their second best D end in terms of understanding what he's supposed to do and executing moves and executing the defense. He's not great, but at the same time, there are still a lot of issues with Shamar Stewart, and you want to let him grow through that so we can be good when we need him, at the end of the season and in the future. Still with Murphy, though, it's funny with him. You watch him and you look at him, you're like, yes, fine. Everything looks good. Even last year, I felt this way. And I don't mean good as in worthy of first round picks. I get a lot of hate in the comments sometimes where Joe loves Miles Murphy. He's done nothing. No, it's not that. If you watch the film, Murphy does apply pressure to his man. He is hard to block for a random fourth defensive end on a roster. Is that what you want out of a first rounder? No. Do you want more than 0 sacks in his second season? Yes. Has he even accumulated a pressure or a hit on the quarterback yet? I don't think so. But at the same time, when I watch him on film, I'm like, yeah, that's serviceable. I can use that guy as my fourth or third defensive end. I would like to give him more reps. I'd like to give him consistent reps. I think it's very hard to get in the flow of the game. This is a guy who doesn't have a lot of great moves or a great feel for the game. He's not in there running into people's faces like Shamar Stewart is. He's not pulling off nice moves and counter moves like Joseph Osai is. Does that mean he stinks? I don't know, maybe. But at the same time, I'd like to see it to be sure, because there are flashes where I'm still interested in what he can be. Next one from Michael. Also, what's going on with McKinley Jackson? Do you think he could add some interior pass rush, and why is he not playing? So, yeah, I think Jackson was always an enigma. I said this on the first star draft party. After that, when they took Burton and McKinley Jackson, we had the day 2 draft party. And I felt bad on that night when I said, I don't see anything special on this day 2 for the Bengals. And now both guys are inactive. Not saying I was right. I'm just saying I wish I was more excited at the time. And I became a bigger fan of McKinley Jackson as his rookie season went on. I thought he flashed a ton last year at the end. I thought he had a decent camp and preseason because they figured out he's not a nose tackle. And I think that's a good thing because I don't think he is. He wasn't in college. I know he's 330 pounds or whatever it is. He's a big dude. So you automatically, some teams will say, oh, he's a nose tackle. Put him at nose, develop him at nose. Fine. And I think that was the Bengals' plan. But when you've got a shorter guy that sometimes struggles with vision, Andrew Billings was like this. Took Billings 3-4 years to really learn how to play nose tackle. And he's been in the league 10 years or whatever it's been now. I think it has been 10 years. He's a quality player. He's a solid starter for wherever he's gone as a nose. McKinley Jackson can still do that. I just think at this point, they see him as not a nose, and they got TJ Slayton and Mike Pennell above him, and they want Jackson to apply himself maybe differently or light a fire under him or get him with the program because he still has a lot of mistakes, even in preseason. Still freelances and goes off script a little bit too much because you can do that at 3-tech a little bit. You can't do that at nose. You have to hold that line of scrimmage and the point, and that's why I think it's a weird mix right now. Remember, Jerry Montgomery wasn't the one that drafted McKinley Jackson, so maybe we'll see him again. Hopefully, I still think he's got some upside. From BTB 2023, what are your thoughts on Dylan Fairchild so far? I think we are happy with Fairchild. I try to separate the preseason now that we've had 2 regular season games. I thought he was okay week 1 for your first game. I thought he was much better week 2. I don't think he gave up a pressure. I thought he was more physical in the run game, a little bit quicker in the run game. And I noticed it because he started to look like he was getting off faster than Orlando Brown Jr. I'm like, okay, good. You got to work in tandem as well. But at the same time, rookies, when they, early when they're inserted to start, they don't look as fast as everybody else. Fairchild's starting to look like a veteran. I think he's fine. We just want to keep our head above water. So I'm trying not to put the expectations too high for Dylan Fairchild and trying to be more reasonable. Next question from Mike Brown himself. Playoffs out of the question with Browning? Honest answer. The honest answer is they're 2-0. And look at the AFC right now and rank the AFC. This could be a whole segment. Jake and I should do this. Rank the AFC, even with Browning at quarterback. And if you say it's the Bills and it's the Ravens at the top, who is third? Is it the Chiefs still? Are you still going to put the Chiefs there? Is it the Chargers? Could be the Chargers. Is it the Colts with Daniel Jones, or are they going to fall flat? And this is with Browning. And normally, you're like Bengals 2-0. If they had Joe Burrow, they'd probably be the argument for number 2. Maybe with the Chargers. Maybe you have the Chargers above them, whatever. But think about that. How many more do you feel good about? The Bills are about to play the Dolphins on Thursday night. The Dolphins is that it for them? 0-3, done? Do the Texans look like they're going to get it together? Is it the Steelers? Is it the Browns? No. Are the Patriots going to dig themselves out and figure it out? Because they didn't look good 2 weeks in a row now. They've won, but they didn't look good. The Jets look terrible and Fields is out. Bo Nix has looked terrible for the most part. And the Broncos, maybe they'll recover and figure it out. They blew that game. Like, really, who's the next team after that? If we say there's 4 teams that are good right now, and then the Chiefs, as well, 7 make it. So reasonably, they need to keep their head above water, and they have this 2-0 lead right now. Yeah, they could. Is it a high likelihood? I saw someone ask earlier, what's the percentage of them making the playoffs? Maybe it's 30%. But that's largely because they're 2-0. And if they're 0-2, no chance. I'd be like, yeah, it ain't happening. If they're 1-1, I'd feel differently because that one game means something. We saw it at the end of last year, right? If they had won one of those early games, they'd have made the playoffs last year with Joe Burrow. So, yeah, chances are slim, but that 2-0 helps a lot. Dan the Man, probably our last question here. Maybe we'll go one more. I'll go one more after this, Burke. I don't want to end it with a Miles Murphy. Joe, do you see Miles Murphy becoming a fear-inspiring defensive end anytime soon? I do not. So this is a better way to ask the question. In other words, like, how do you feel? I give you a long answer of Miles Murphy. Could there still be something? Do I see him becoming a fear-inspiring defensive end? I do not see that. I don't think he's got the feel for the game. I don't think he's got the moves now, year 3, and I don't think he's intense enough. He's got the size. He's got the speed. He looks great. His body looked great this year. He looks like he got in great shape. It takes more than that. Then we see these guys all the time that just don't have that feel. And that's what I warned when he was drafted as well, why I had more of a second-round grade on him, because I was concerned. So, Burke, what do you got for the last question here to send us out? It's from Jay. Another Jay name, so it's got to be a good question here. What is your honest opinion? I think it's opinion on how Zac deflected Paul Dehner's question about whether the organization needs to seriously evaluate how well they're not protecting Burrow and finally make real changes. I think this is a big question because I think Zac tiptoes around a lot of questions about the organization. And sometimes I feel like I can read behind his face and read between the lines of like he's not happy. And so when you ask it from an organizational standpoint, I think, are they doing enough? Are they spending enough money? Do they have enough scouts? Are they getting the right guys in? Are they keeping Frank Pollock too long? Whatever the questions may be, right? We've had a ton of them over the last 5-6 years since we've been having offensive line, Joe Burrow discussions. I don't think Zac's 100% happy with what they do. And I think one of it is like, it's hard because they draft Fairchild and they insert him right away. So we're going to have bumps with him, but largely he's looked good. We should be happy with that they made a decent pick at this point. Now, how good is he going to be? We'll find out. But at the very least, he can play in the NFL. They drafted Marius Mims in the first round. These are things we would ask for. It's a high pedigree, big athletic dude. Great. They made a change at coach for the offensive line. Something we all asked for. Great. They went and signed 2 guards. Veteran minimum, basically, Lucas Patrick and Dalton Reisner. We all wanted Reisner, right? Most of us. They waited until September to sign him. Maybe they should have signed him in July and got him ready to go. But they're spending the bare minimum there at that spot to fix it. So it's hard to complain too much about the offensive line because they've made a lot of moves. They have drafted guys. I think sometimes the outside perspective is the Bengals don't care about the offensive line. The 2 first-round picks before they drafted Burrow were Billy Price and Jonah Williams. Now that didn't work. So that's when I go back to scouting. I think there is a part of Taylor that isn't fully happy with what the organization does. Well, you can't say it. If put yourself in his shoes, what are you going to say? I think you can only say so much. I think there are times, and I started to really think this when the Jamar Chase hold out, hold in last year happened. And I've had signs of it with the Trey Hendrickson saga as well, that he's almost a mediator between the organization and the players, which head coaches are. But it feels like he sometimes is caught in the middle and trying to smooth things over and keep everyone going. And sometimes the locker room feels like a major league us versus them situation. Like we're going to win just in spite of the ownership, and I don't know if that's fully true. And I don't want to read into things, but I don't know if you guys feel the same way, where at times you don't feel like you're getting all the support from the front office. So I wouldn't be surprised if Zac was deflecting those things. Now, that doesn't eliminate his involvement in all of this. If Joe likes a certain style of offense, that's fine. at some point, you need to protect him from himself. At some point, because we know that Taylor comes from a wide zone, under center type offense, right? He wasn't a spread it out, throw it all day. That wasn't what he came from. That's not McVay. So what changed? It was Burrow, right? They said, and you should make your first overall pick quarterback as comfortable as possible and run the stuff he needs to run. But at the same time, you have to also not just put him out there and feed him to the wolves, right? You need to protect him. You still need to run these other things, and you need to be strong enough as a head coach and a coaching staff to say, we're running this, and you have to run this, and you have to be with it. Like if you took Joe Burrow and put him in Kyle Shanahan 49ers offense, or Kevin O'Connell, or pick one of those heavy play action, schemed up throws, would Burrow say, we're not doing this? I feel more comfortable in shotgun spreading it out. And would they just listen to it? And would they just do it? And I'm stopping myself short. Is a detriment to their offense? The Burrow offense has been successful. It's been very, very good. It's just gotten them hurt too much. So now you don't have a choice. You've got to make changes there. So I think it's a hard question to answer. That's why I went a little long on that. And I don't know if I got to the right answer, but I've got a lot of thoughts, and I think you guys do too. And I hope I got to them mostly there. I appreciate this. I think we should do more live shows, more questions. The chat looks good. You guys have brought a lot of great questions. Plus, we can do a live film review. I'm always down to do that. Whenever First Star needs me to get on here and do that, I'm down. So if you guys like that, hit the like, hit the subscribe, share this with anyone who's interested in Bengals. We got to keep it entertaining while Joe Burrow is out. And I will do that on Bengals on the Brain, presented by First Star Logistics. Until next time, Hoo day.